Yeah.
All right, here with award-winning journalist and broadcaster Pete Badel. Pete, some big news today, mate. Nikita Tszyu. What are you hearing?
Yeah, well, it's come as a bit of a shock, Macca, to those here in the Australian boxing fraternity. The news that Nikita Tszyu has apparently been involved in a car crash. I've made some inquiries. I've spoken to Nikita Tszyu's camp. I'm told that it's not a serious injury, which is great news. Nikita's okay. I'm told that he was driving through an intersection just 2 blocks from his house, and he got T-boned by another driver. So that driver was at fault. Thankfully, Nikita's not injured in a major way, other than just a bit shaken up, and from what I'm told, talking to his camp, just quite stiff and sore. And so they've given him the week off training, but it shouldn't preclude this blockbuster fight against Michael Zarafa, which we hope will come together in the coming days and weeks. But yeah, a bit of surprise news. There's always something going on, but yeah, thankfully, hopefully Nikita's okay and he's just recovering well.
Yeah, what was, I guess, your understanding of the plan between Michael and Nikita for a potential fight there, irrespective of today's events?
Yeah, well, Maka, there's been a bit of toing and froing. So my original mail was that they were looking at a possible later November show, potentially on the Gold Coast, but I don't know if that'll happen now. But I then heard that there'd been a few delays. I think Mick Zarafa may have picked up a minor injury in training. He conveyed that to No Limit. And they're looking to maybe push the fight back a couple of weeks now. So I don't have an exact date, but I'm hearing maybe early December, mid-December now for a date. But I've heard obviously the bout agreements have to be redone. Now I'm told that Michael Zarafa has signed again, so he's signed his part of the deal. I think Nikita's amenable to the fight happening. I don't think he's got a problem with it. So putting us, if they can come through this stuff with Nikita's car crash, Michael Zarafa's had a few little niggles in training. Getting through that, I think we'll have some clearer waters, and we will see Nikita versus Zarafa sometime later this year. Is my mail. I still think it all goes ahead. It's just a matter of when and where. But I'm told around December, maybe not the Gold Coast anymore. Could be Brisbane, perhaps. There's a few venues in Brisbane they're looking at, and maybe even Sydney. But of course, that's a home ground advantage for Nikita. So I think they're trying to avoid the Sydney, Melbourne venues and possibly looking at the Gold Coast or Brisbane.
Just looking at, Nikita and his last performance compared to, Michael and his last couple, how do they, stack up against each other?
Well, you'd have to argue, Macca, that neither of them have probably reached their ceiling in some senses. I mean, I think Big Zarafa's been pedestrian in some fights, but then emphatic in other stages of fights. And then I guess against Bashir A, he seemed like he was labouring for 6 rounds, and then he's got deceptive power, Mick, and deceptive speed. And when he puts it all together, he's one of our best fighters. So Bashir A found that out the hard way in the seventh round when Mick put him away. So that was a good win by Mick ultimately. I think. Then Mikey Darman, that was a hard barometer because it only went 1 round, and I don't think he offered much Darman. So, look, I still think there's another gear in Mick Zarafa. I don't think we've seen the best of him, even against Danilo Criati when you go back a couple of years ago. That was a pretty pedestrian fight for Mick. Even he'll concede that, and it was probably a fight where Danilo didn't engage in too much. So, look, I think the right opponent, the right stage, the right age, Mick Zarafa can be a supreme specimen, and I think Nikita is the type of fighter that will bring the best out in Mick. I mean, he's a come forward fighter, Nikita. He's not afraid to bang. He's prepared to go in the pocket if he has to, or fight at range. So this is the type of blockbuster fighters we've seen with the two fights with Horn and Zarafa. They're the fights Mick will relish. He doesn't mind a scrap. So and with Nikita Maka. Look, it worries me that he's only had 1 round in a long time now. I mean, he's had injuries, he's coming off surgeries. I would have liked to see him bank more rounds against Ismaili. That didn't happen. But we can only, a bit like his brother for a long time, Macca, every time Nikita seems to get a test, he seems to step up and level up. And I saw some nice little feints, and he was setting traps against Ismaili, just little things he was doing in that early round construction was pretty impressive from him. So you can see that he's learning and see he's trying to add stuff to his craft. So he's not the finished article yet either. So that's what makes this a very intriguing fight.
Mm. So what are you hearing about Nikita's sort of time frame now? You got a few injuries from this accident. how long is that going to keep him out of the gym? And, when could we see an announcement on this fight if it was to, go ahead?
Yeah, well, I spoke to Glenn Jennings, Macca, his manager, just earlier, and he seems to think it'll only be about a week to 10 days that Nikita will be out of the gym, not training. So they're not too concerned about it. And so I think he'll be back training. He'll still have about 7 weeks to prepare for the fight if it goes ahead in sort of early to mid-December. Announcement wise, I haven't got any formal mail, but I think coming through this patch, I would anticipate there'd be an announcement in the next week or two. I mean, if they're going to have a December fight, then you're getting pretty close. It'd have to be sometime this month, you would think.
Mm. Um, we saw Tim Tszyu head to the States last week. What are you hearing about his time over there, and any early mail on when we could see a Tim back in the ring?
Yeah, well, Macro, I broke the original yarn on his five fighters or five trainers that he was visiting in America. They're his American Dream Team, and I'm told that so he's seen Rudy Hernandez, he's been to Ismail Salas, and now I'm told that he's stopped into Florida or Miami, where he's currently working with Jeff Cunningham. So he's obviously been with Abel Sanchez as well. So he's going through the Fab Five, and I guess in the fullness of time, he'll probably make a decision, Tim, on who he wants to move forward with on a more, I guess, fully formed basis. But it seems like a good learning curve for Tim. Obviously, a journey to level up and get better after his disappointing losses to two to Fandora, one to Murtazalayev, of course. So, but look, I'm hearing Maka. It's interesting. I know he copped a bit of a beatdown again against Fandora, and some people thought maybe he needs a good 9 months off. But I'm told that he might be in the ring early next year. I wouldn't be surprised to see him fight in January, mid-January perhaps, which would be fascinating for Tim to come back that early, given he fought Fandora in July. I thought he may have come back a bit later, but Tim's always been an active fighter. He loves to have 3 or 4 fights a year when he's injury-free, drama-free. So this hopefully is the start of the relaunch, Macca, and we need it for Australian boxing. I mean, I'd love to see Tim Tszyu climb the ladder again. It feels to me a little bit disappointing that like he's been the forgotten man of Australian boxing almost, and some people have written him off. But I'd like to think that this is not the end for Tim Tszyu. He's only 30, 31 soon. And I just hope that with these trainers in America learning new skill sets, working with a new team, of course, he's got the new team around him of advisors, led by Mike Altamura, of course, the matchmaking strategist who's done a fantastic job with other fighters, that we can see Tim Tszyu climb again. And I really hope he does because the Australian boxing economy needs him.
What did you make of the fallout there, with the team, the decisions around, moving on the team and parting ways with the former team, and then, his appointments? So what did you make of all that?
Yeah, look, Mac, I've thought about it a little bit. I sometimes wonder if it is the right move. I mean, I think the team that Tim had was a magnificent team. They were cohesive. For a long time, there was a real clear strategy and trajectory that they were on. And they took him from an amateur to a world champion, and they deserve credit for that, led by Glenn Jennings and Igor, his trainer. And so I was a little bit surprised, but then also understanding that when you go through the rut that Tim has, 3 losses in 4 fights, you can't blame him for wanting to look at things forensically and think, look, what do I need to do to find another level in me as a fighter to somehow rebuild what I've lost? And maybe he felt stale under Igor. Maybe he just felt like he wasn't sharpening up. And look, we have seen some flaws in Tim's craft, haven't we, Macca? We've seen there's been talk about two center line, head movement, not jabbing enough. So there's all little facets of his craft that I still think other trainers might be able to tap into. So let's hope, Macca, that this American sortie works out for him. I still feel that the initial team that he had probably could have got more out of him, probably could have rebuilt him to some degree, but ultimately Tim has made a pretty brave call, gutsy call. I applaud him for it because the easy option is to stay with his current team, but he bit the bullet and now he's made his bet, he's on a liner. But I just hope that this new team moving forward can carefully match him and delicately position him, because if they do that, then this isn't the end for Tim Tszyu. I think he can fight back again.
Two more for you. Liam Paro hearing a some whispers of a potential return for him as well.
Yeah, this is massive. I'm hearing that Paddy Donovan, a world title eliminator, possibly is in the mix now. The first step, Macca, was for Liam to get his eye checked out because, as we know, he copped a fair whack against David Papeau. That was a real fantastic fight, and he copped a massive punch in the fourth round, and it almost there was some concerns that he may have fractured his orbital or eye socket, but he saw an eye specialist last week and got the all clear from the eye specialist, so that's great news. Liam Paro is due to return now. Initially, I had heard late November, but that might also be pushed back. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if even Pare's on the same card as Nikita Tszyu if they get it all done. So, but I'd love to see that fight against Donovan. I think it's a very winnable fight. I think I'm actually surprised that Crocker beat Donovan the second time around. I thought Donovan would win again. I thought he was winning the first fight before that DQ. So, look, I think stylistically though, it's a great fight for Liam. I think he's got the skill set. I think he's got the punch selection. I think he's got the boxing IQ benefits of world title fights, 24 rounds of experience against Hitchens and Matthias. I think I don't think there's anything that Donovan would pose that Liam Paro couldn't process and eliminate. So it's a fair. I hope it comes together though. It'd be a brilliant fight because the winner of that could then face Crocker, which would be a fantastic opportunity for Liam at 147.
Now, Jai Opetaia, he's also set to return early December on the Gold Coast. Thoughts on that fight? Everyone's sort of waiting for Jai to have that massive fight, but it looks like a good card up there.
Yeah, look, I got to say, Macca, I'm really excited about this card. I mean, look, it's a very A side type of card, isn't it? Like there seems to be some pretty clear winners in those bouts, but you can't question the depth of talent on the card. I mean, it's so exciting for Australian fight fans to even have Jason Maloney on the card. I can't wait to see him in action again. So it's brilliant. Look, Sin Cara was meant to happen a while ago. It didn't happen. It got delayed for a while, but I'd like to see. I still think Jai's, not really been tested yet, is he, Macca? I mean, he's at an age now where I feel like he's almost wasting time with some of these opponents. Even his last opponent, Squayo, was, he was levels below Jai's ability. So I think Jai won't have too many problems with Sin Cara. I think he probably wins inside 6 rounds. But it is a great card. It's an exciting card. I'll always love seeing the depth of Aussie fighters, and Max McIntyre is another one that I really like the look of. I think he and Callum Peters at some point would be a fantastic matchup at the right, depending on what weight they want to fight at. But I think Max McIntyre's got a lot of talent. I really like what he does in the ring. So there's some fantastic fights on the card, and led by Jai Opetaia, who I hope eventually goes to heavyweight. But the other one, Macca, is Justice Hooney. I can't wait to see that rematch against Kiki Latelli. I mean, that was a real fascinating fight, their first one, where in that fight, Hooney tried to change his style, if you remember, and tried to sort of bang in the pocket and nearly got dropped in the second or third round of that fight. Like, he got buzzed by Kiki. And so Kiki's one tough hombre. He doesn't get dropped easily or stopped easily. So I think he's got his work cut out, Justice. But I'm still so disappointed for him over that Wardley loss. He had him for 9 rounds. He was winning that fight. He was so close to the world title. So I hope that gives Justice some comfort that he is up there with the best in that division. And I think if he's at his best, he should win this rematch and win it well.
Right, mates. NRL season's finished, mate. What do you do in a day these days? What do you do all day?
Oh, mate, I've got some twins here in the background burning the house down, but you're the priority here, Macca. So the twins can go burn the house down. I'll get the fire brigade later, but bit of lounging by the pool, keeping the kids entertained, and then boxing in November, December, mate.
Must be nice, mate. Must be nice at the top. Righto, Pete. Thanks so much, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Macca. Love your work, mate.